Greetings out there in YouTube land. This is Morris, man, and as always, I thank you guys for coming to my channel. And today I'm going to do a response from a reply that I got. And I think it's important because my channel is geared towards helping the young people as far as music and of any ages as well, but mainly the young people, because it's up to the older people to kind of help shape them, put them on the right path. So, all the stuff that I learned as a musician over 30-some years, I come to some conclusions that are controversial, but they're true. When I talk about that key signature nonsense and all that, what key you're in, and the only time you really need to know that is when you're playing solos. And as Prince or Jimi Hendrix, they didn't know how to read music, so that was no help to them. And those were some of the two greatest guitar players that ever lived. So, I'm gonna break this down because this is the comment that I got. Someone mentioned about when I was talking about key signatures and as I call it, nonsense. It helps you when you're on stage struggling. And I thought about that statement. I'm like, what does that supposed to mean? I mean, unless you're playing on a different planet, I really don't understand, because it's real simple. I've been playing for 30-some years. I've lost count of how many times I performed on the stage with different bands. And the only time we've had problems on stage is when somebody didn't know their part. That's plain and simple. If you practice and come to your rehearsals and your concerts and gigs knowing your parts, you're not going to have any problems. So I really don't understand that you need this because you might struggle and don't know what key you're in. If you don't know what key you're in, you ain't been practicing. It's just plain and simple, because it's kind of like a myth. And here's another myth. You watch TV and the police detectives, when they come across something, when they apprehended a suspect and they come across this big bag that's white, they cut it up with a knife and taste it. They never taste it. That's just TV. And just like another example, you watching TV, it's a commercial about medicine or prescriptions, and the doctor's talking to his patient. He's in an office with a table and a chair and his degrees up on the wall. I've yet to go into the doctor's office or hospital and go and sit in an office. It's just TV. It's made up, and that's the same thing with that key structure nonsense. If you know your parts in practice, that's all you need to know. How are you going to struggle? Because I've had people throw this out at me too, and this is another hypothetical, unrealistic, mythical scenario that you're playing. Somebody comes up and wants you to play a song, and then they tell you what key. That's TV. Again, professional musicians practice. They learn their parts. They come on stage and play their parts. End of story. Ain't nothing complicated about that. But you got some people that believe the stuff that's been told 30 to 40 years ago that's not true, and they refuse to let it go. Here's another debate, and I'm just going to touch on this one slightly because I agree with Scott Grove that wood don't make a difference when it comes to your electric guitar. But this thing about tone wood nonsense about it makes a difference and it makes the guitar sustain. And that's true. I will go as far as to say that, okay, wood will make a slight difference. But guess what? The difference is so minute. Why is it such a big deal? The big deal should be just playing your instrument and playing it well, not worrying about the wood and where it came from and the sustain and all that. We're trying to be guitar players, not guitar makers, because that's a totally different animal, and there's some people that think they both or more so want to be this while they trying to do this. And that's the same thing with the theory people. They so focused on the technical nonsense that they can't play the instrument. And that's the problem. They're frustrated that they can't play like the other people that don't obey by that tab and key signature nonsense. And also what I notice is the people that want to kind of dispute this key signature thing and all that, I click on their channel and zero videos. They have no video, audio, proof or validation to back up their statements about this key thing. And you look at my channel, and I'm not bragging, it's just I'm stating fact that singularly I got more videos posted than anybody on YouTube, period. I got a second channel because I created a second channel because I had so many videos on the first one that it would take people literally days or weeks to sift through 400 videos. So my channel is proof that what I do makes sense and it works, and it can work for you too, because don't get caught up in that thinking that you guys spend a whole entire year working on some stuff that's not going to apply to you when you start becoming a professional player or player, and just a waste of your time and your money. Like I said, I got DVDs for sale 1 through 4 that walk you through the basics, because I'm like everybody else. I went through countless amount of music teachers, and they kept teaching me the same thing, and none of it worked. And I ran across one guy from the Conservatory of Music, Frank, and Frank gave me a sheet, which I don't have in front of me. He said, study this sheet. It'll make sense to you. You'll be able to apply it. I looked at it. It made sense. I applied it. I started playing, because here's one myth or something that important that they don't tell you about in music school. When you look at the sheet music, especially sheet music back in the 70s and 80s, up until probably the 90s, the diagrams over the top of the staff for the guitar chords, they were always in first position. But guess what? 99% of R&B music is not played in first position. Folk music is, country music is, and some other music, but not R&B, not pop. You know, so right there's an issue that when you're playing these chords and weird voicings, it don't sound like the record, and you don't understand why. And that's the reason why, because no one told you that instead of playing the E minor 7 chord up in the 1st fret, you should be down here on like the 8th fret, playing on the A string, because that's how most R&B players play it. They don't play it up there in the top. You know, so again, my channel is my proof that what I talk about and what I apply works, and it can work for you too. That's been going on for I can't even remember since when, but I remember as a kid it was the same thing. Run into some guys that couldn't play word for lick, but they knew the key signature, and you ain't playing this note right. Who cares? You know, nobody in the audience is going to stand up and say that should be in this key. Key signature, it makes the world go around when you're a musician. When practice and more practice make you a better player, and that's what makes the world go around. So on that note, I'm signing off. Until next time, take care.